you a current or former Optus customer? You've probably been trying to follow the hack and then the ransom and then the ransom withdrawal. And if tech stuff wasn't confusing enough for some, the plot twists in this story can be kind of hard to keep up with. Maybe you're freaking out about what the data breach will mean for you as an individual. So, what can you do about it now? Because nearly a week after the attack, experts are still really trying to get a clear picture of what happened and what it means for affected people. Matthew Dickinson is a Dubbo-based tech specialist. G'day, Matthew.
How you going, Antoinette? Good to be chatting.
It is indeed.
Has any new info emerged that might make Optus customers a little less anxious now, asking for a friend or maybe also asking for myself?
Well, you've actually covered it fairly well. There was the ransom demand, then strangely the ransom demand was withdrawn. But the other thing that people have got to be very careful of is there have been some text messages received by some Optus customers that have been saying, I'm the hacker, just give me $2,000 individually, so not the big $1 million from the whole company, but just you as an individual, just pay a little miserable $2,000 and I'll make it all go away. Now, I would guarantee that this message is not from the hacker. This message is from someone that has seen the 10,000 details or people's details from 10,000 people that have said, well, I've got an opportunity here to make a little bit of money rather than the big $1 million windfall. And so they've just targeted some of those. And some of those individuals, I'm sure, have said, I don't want my identity stolen. I'll pay the $2,000 and it'll all be okay.
Okay, so just very quickly, what can you do now?
Well, the problem is it's not anything that you can just go and simply change your passwords. The big risk for people here is identity theft. And the issue with identity theft is they're relying on knowing your name, which you're not going to change, your date of birth, which you're not going to change, and maybe some other details such as your driver's license or your passport. In some states, it's very difficult to change your driver's license. Other states, you can do it. And
so Queensland now is offering for people to change their driver's license free of charge. New South Wales, I think they're going to do it for a fee of, I think it's $30, and Optus may reimburse. So changing the driver's license may be possible for some people in some states.
Yeah, correct. And getting a new it's not so much changing it, it's getting that new driver's license number. And passports, you can get a new passport, but that's not an easy process and not a cheap process. And again, that'll give you a new number. What they're after, what these hackers are after, is having enough information about you that they can be you. And once they're you, they can do a couple of things. One, they can go and start to apply for loans or credit cards in your name, and that all looks legitimate. And then suddenly the debt has been racked up, and then the bank comes and starts chasing you. And you, of course, say, well, I don't know about that debt. Okay. And they say, well, you applied for it. So that's a bit of a risk. Sorry?
What can we do to avoid that? Because you're freaking me out a little bit as an Optus customer. These hackers have my details as well. What can I do about it?
Well, there's nothing you can inherently do to stop it unless you want to change your date of birth or your name, which aren't easy things to do.
But what can you look out for?
Yeah, that's the thing. Look out for any suspicious activity on your bank account, or you can actually ask credit companies to put a freeze on any credit checks, which means people can't go and look at your credit information to apply for loans. And the other really crucial thing is keep an eye out on your phone if it suddenly stops working, because there's a thing called SIM jacking, where someone will go into a store and they'll pretend to be you, and then they'll get the SIM card reissued, because of course you just lost your phone yesterday. And then once they've got that SIM card, two-factor authentication is then much easier for them. Now, Optus have said they've put a freeze on SIM card changes, but if someone legitimately lost their phone, that would be a very difficult thing for them to handle, because they did want a new SIM card issued to put in their new phone. So it's very complicated. So keeping an eye on your phone not working, keeping an eye on your bank details, and maybe putting a freeze on any credit checks under your name are really the only things you can do. It's always a good idea to change passwords, have two-factor authentication, but we're not talking about any passwords being leaked here. Optus has said quite clearly the things that have been leaked are not account numbers, are not passwords. They're things like your name, your address, your date of birth, the driver's license details, those sort of things, which again, that's where it comes down to. It comes down to being able to steal your identity.
Okay. Well, there's some good and practical pointers. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Antoinette.